Okay. Welcome to the first inaugural episode of the DNN, the Dirty News Network. That's what I'm going to call it. DNN. It's kind of a play on CNN, but I'm sure people already fucking connected the dots there. Not really a hard fucking equation to solve there. Not really hard to find the formula, if you know what I mean. So, the idea behind this, I've been wanting to do a news talk show for a while. It's probably not necessarily the news, although we'll just be discussing some stories that pop up. Basically, I just got tabs. I got like, I don't know, 30 tabs up on my screen that I'll kind of click through and see if anything, jumps at me. But we'll also be discussing like what happened in the week, maybe, what's happened in the year, life, all that kind of shit. And why? Because it's my fucking show, right? I've wanted to do a talk show slash podcast slash web show slash talk show, blah, 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 for as long as I can remember. I've been preparing for my Barbara Walters interview since I was like 4 years old. If anybody's ready for this shit, it's me. Trust me. The problem is, I already know that the entertainment factor is there. I know that I can bring, whatever it is that I need to the stage and the spotlight, all that shit. I love it. I love that shit. I love interacting. I like talking to people, all that stuff. Maybe I'm just a ham. Maybe I'm just a piece of shit fucking ham saying me, look at me. I just realized that I didn't clean my glasses. I should probably clean my glasses. Important to note, too, this show will always be live. When I was thinking about doing a podcast, type talk show, type slash web show, blah, 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 I was thinking, do I do it? Hang on a second. I was thinking about doing it, like kind of scripted maybe, where we do the video, maybe we do some edits and stuff, add like news clippings, maybe even... and I'm still a little iffy on fair use and stuff like that, because I would like to add like the clippings, not the clippings, what am I fucking trying to say here? The videos and stuff of like maybe what I'm watching, GIFs, all that kind of shit. I've been using GIFs on my football show. Shout out to the football show with Court Fuchsias. We did that yesterday. Every Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern. You can tune in. You can tune in on all the platforms. Tune in on Twitter, Twitch, Mixer, YouTube, Stream.me, Periscope. We're all over the fucking place. We'll be on Facebook Live again here pretty soon as well. But yeah, definitely tune into the football show. Me and Court, we got a good vibe going. I'm glad that he pushed me to do that. In many ways, him pushing me to do that, big shout out to Court here. In many ways, him pushing me to do that football show that day, which was completely, out of the blue. I was just sitting there bored out of my fucking mind. And he's like, dude, he just texted me. He's like, dude, we got to do a football show. We got to do, because we were talking about at the start of the season, we should do picks, every week. And then, yeah, we didn't start doing it until I think week 8. We just did our 3rd show. But, yeah. Pretty exciting. I mean, it's pretty exciting to have a little show, and we actually had, some people pop in yesterday. We had 2 new follows from Mixer yesterday, so that was really nice. And they actually not only did they follow, but they were talking. They were, making their own picks and stuff. It was a good fucking time, as some people would say. So yeah, definitely Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern, the Football Pick'em Show with me and my good friend Court Fuchsias. Anybody that's followed me knows that you can always follow Court as well. Follow him over at his YouTube channel, Twitch, and Twitter now. I finally got his ass to get on Twitter. He's going to be active. Hopefully he'll be retweeting me. That's really all I need is retweets. Basically, I'm just going to use him as a retweet machine, and vice versa, vice versa. But yeah, this is the inaugural episode. This is the very first episode of DNN, the Dirty News Network. I don't know how long the show will be. I feel like we'll just keep going until I shut the fuck up or I just run out of shit to say. The rants end. But I think the format will probably be more rants, raves, and ramblings type deal. A lot of tangents. You'll see me jump from subject to subject to subject. And perhaps I might not even discuss the news today. This could just be like the inaugural show of how we even got here. Because it's pretty fucking crazy when I think about it sometimes, and I think about podcasts in general, of how they kind of changed my life in a way. I was gonna do a show about that, actually. I might do a show, probably upload that to my YouTube. I might not do that live, just a quick 5-minute thing on how podcasts changed my life forever. Forever. Like, they should, well, maybe not forever, but they definitely changed the course of my life and affected a lot of friendships, and even affected a lot of things in my family as well. But yeah, going back to the format of the show, it's definitely going to be off the cuff, completely unscripted, uncensored. I'd like it to be uncensored. I'd like to be able to say whatever the fuck I want. That would be preferable. And if I get kicked off of YouTube, if I get kicked off of any of the platforms, we'll find another platform to keep pressing on. And we will keep networking. We will keep pushing for growth, no matter what. Because I think that's very important, you know, to keep growing. I feel like I'm very late to the party when it comes to streaming and content creation. I've been talking about making content, doing this kind of thing for, I don't know, since 2005, 2006. Shortly after I did discover podcast in 2005. I was never really a guy that liked to watch streamers. I was never a guy that really liked to watch YouTube a lot either, but I've kind of changed my tone on that quite drastically. I found a lot of YouTubers that I watch religiously now, and they're all just very, you know, they're different. They're very different. They're not, you know, I don't like the fake bullshit YouTubers. I hate them. They just drive me fucking crazy. I can't stand all these laugh reaction videos. I can't stand the stupid shit. You know, anytime there's something that happens, they jump on it right away just to fucking get tagged and shit. And I get that. You'll probably see me do that a little bit, but you'll definitely not see me do stupid fucking shit just to capitalize. I don't want to do that. Discussing the news and what happens during the day is different, I think, especially if it's unscripted and you're not trying to make it about you. But that's why we're here, though, at the same time. See, I'll probably contradict myself a lot. You guys can just say, leave a comment, say like, dude, you don't know what you're talking about, you're an idiot. That's fine. I like that. As long as I get a comment, you know what I mean? Comments, likes, shares, that's what's fucking important here. Because that's what we're trying to do. But yes, I decided the name would be DNN, you know? DNN, the Dirty News Network. I was gonna do the DFN. It was gonna be DFN there for a while. It was gonna be the Dirty Fucking News, but I thought, nah, DNN is a little bit better because it's the play on CNN, as I mentioned before. Which, speaking of CNN, we'll go into the first story of the fucking day here. CNN reporter Jim Acosta got his White House press pass restored, I believe. I don't know if it's full restoration. See, that's another thing you'll get from this show is you won't get the complete story ever, because I'll just keep jumping from story to story anyway. If you want the real news, you're gonna have to find it somewhere else. This is more off the cuff, unscripted, who gives a shit, let's just see what we can do. But yeah, Jim fucking Acosta back in the White House, man. Can you believe that shit? I'm sorry, look, it doesn't matter if you lean right or left on this subject. When it comes to CNN reporter Jim Acosta, he is a fucking prick. I'm sorry, he's just a prick. Standing up, grandstanding himself, making it about him. That's another thing I can't stand. That's another problem with the news in general. No matter if you're right or left, if you're watching Fox, if you're watching CNN, if you're watching fucking Rachel fucking Maddow, it doesn't matter. Those news outlets, you will notice not only the bias, clear bias, but they're grandstanding. They're making it about them. You know, I'm a child of the 80s. You know, when you're a child of the 80s, you still remember those days of the news when it was just about the... What's the pic with the TV head? Oh, alright. I'm sorry, I just got a text. See, again, off the cuff, unscripted, live. Always will be. We'll do it live! Fuck it, we'll do it live! Shout out to Bill O'Reilly if he's watching. You know, it's one of the best moments in news history right there. We'll do it live. Fuck it. So good. I've watched that video, I don't know, maybe 700 times, maybe. I should probably look that up and check out the stats on that. But yeah, my point on Jim Acosta though, man, he's just kind of a prick. If Jim Acosta had his own show and was just doing his own thing, I mean, that's fine. You know, like Rachel Maddow, Tucker, all of them. They all have their own show. They're all grandstanding. They're all making it about them. But this fucking guy in the White House press room, always fucking dominating the mic over other people. I'm sorry, that's just a problem. That's a slap in the face to the other reporters there. And now I'm sitting here looking at headline front page news about Jim fucking Acosta. It just kind of makes me sick a little bit. So no, I'm not a fan of Jimmy Acosta. I hope he gets it revoked again. I hope he fucking gets kicked out again. And I hope Trump fucking makes him out to be a fool again. Because I know there's people on the left that are like, ah, look at what Jim did to fucking Trump. Just watch those videos, man. Jim is a prick. And so is Trump. Trump's a prick as well, but at least he's funny about it. At least he's got some personality. Good God. Jim Acosta, just this talking head, this robot of a man. What a way to break into the show. What a way to have an inaugural episode of me just shitting all over a reporter. But I know the news outlets are going to be calling real soon. Maybe I'll get a job at InfoWars at least, you know? Get a job at old Breitbart. Get a job at the old right-wing establishments. Although I do have respect for Breitbart. People shit on Breitbart as a total right-wing place, and it is right-wing, but, you know, they have good news reporting. If it wasn't for Breitbart, you wouldn't have had the Milo story with Gamergate. You wouldn't have had a really big deal happen after that. A wave. And I'm sorry, if you're not into Gamergate, I don't know what to tell you, but that shit is real. Still happening to this day. And it's probably going to happen. I think we're in the midst of kind of a Gamergate 2.0. Even though people that used to be Gamergaters, they're really not into it anymore. They're kind of sick of it. It's almost as if they've given up. And I understand that. I get it. It's a fight that's you're probably never going to be able to overcome this extreme leftism that's going on in journalism right now. Gaming journalism in particular. Very scary stuff, especially if you follow Kotaku, if you follow fucking Polygon, any of those sites especially. Very social justice warrior oriented and very scary reads. So yeah, when it comes to Breitbart, I got a little respect there for Breitbart. You know, I mean, they're the ones that published that piece, that Mr. Milo. And, you know, regardless of how you feel about Milo, I think Milo is a troll, but he's very good at it. I think Milo is hilarious. He's one of the best speakers the world's ever seen, and as far as I'm concerned. I hope he comes back. And no, I don't think he incited hate. I don't like this idea of hate speech. You're inciting violence. If I tell you to go kill somebody, I'm not going to get charged for that. Fuck you. Go fuck yourself. I'm sorry. That's on you if you go shoot somebody. Give me a fucking break. Give me a fucking break. People are getting torn down. Torn down in the media across the world just because they have something to say. And speaking of, the left, Jim Carrey. Boy, I gotta say, man, one of the things that I would like to say about the left and the right, no matter how you do your politics, I guess the point I'm trying to make is, even though I kind of lean right, which I do, I do maintain that I am a moderate conservative, though, especially now since I have left the left, and we can get to that. I can do a whole episode on that. Gamergate was a big highlight to that. Comicsgate was a big highlight to that. When social justice started to infect gaming, my movies, and my comic books, I'm sorry, that's when it started to rise up. That's when you started to feel like, wait a minute, man, like what is going on here? What is going on here? What is happening to my comic books? Why are they pushing this America Chavez character? Why is all the older established heroes becoming, they're turning them into women, they're turning them black, anything like that? And listen, it's like, if you're for Comicsgate, you always have to say this. Look, I'm for diversity, which I am. I am all for diversity. I remember when I was a kid, 1991, 1990, whenever the fuck it was, picking up Spawn, that first issue. I don't know if it was the first issue or the second issue, but I do believe it was the first. And you realize that Spawn was black. Amazing. Amazing. I thought that was the coolest fucking shit ever as a kid, because it was like, wait a minute, this is different. And I remember people trashing it a little bit because they were a little racist about it, you know? But my point is that's a new, fresh character. And and now he's established. Look at what Spawn has become. What is he, like issue 300 maybe? 280? He's getting up there, man. And McFarlane is, you know, he's been back for a long time. But, you know, Spawn to me is the perfect example of creating a new character, a diverse character. Very troubled character. Hard character to like, hard character to love, hard character to root for. Very good anti-hero. Especially if you're like a biblical guy. I'm not a biblical guy. I'm not a religious person at all. Religion is a touchy subject. Maybe we'll get to that another time. But, you know, it's got to be a hard read if you're, you know, of course, I think, you know, you got to figure probably every comic book is probably a little hard to read, though, if you're a, you know, Bible thumper, if you're really that into it, right? But Spawn is a agent of hell. You know, he's a hell spawn. He was given his life back. You know, he was an assassin. He killed women. He killed children. It's a brutal fucking character, man. But my point is that was a diverse character that was created. Not Captain America, who is a white straight male. Oh my God. I'm sorry, as you can see my face on the screen there. I'm white. And I hate to say it, people, but I'm straight as well. Oh my God. Yes, I know. I'm the devil. What you see on screen before you is the devil himself. Rawr. Don't be frightened. You know, we'll make hell nice and cozy for you. But yeah, I mean, Falcon picking up, so we'll go over to Falcon picking up the shield, you know, for Captain America. You know, it's a cool little side story, but calling him Captain America is a problem for me. That's not Captain America. And the same thing goes with Thor, you know, the Jane Foster Thor. You know, it's cool to have a female Thor so long as you have, you know, the real Thor intact, which they did, but it was scary, you know, at the time to be reading it and seeing, well, what's happening to Thor? Like, I'm not a big Thor fan, but if you're a Thor fan, that's got to piss you off a little bit. Same thing with this constant push for Miles Morales to take over the helm as the main Spider-Man. And I'm sorry, you're never going to get rid of Peter Parker. You're never going to get rid of Peter Parker, and you shouldn't. You shouldn't. I mean, that's something about comics, is comics should be timeless. These characters have too many stories to tell as it is. And if the writers run out of the stories, then that's on them. That's why you fire them. You get a new, fresh writer in there to, you know, shake it up a bit. And sometimes that's what you need. You know, like you look at the Jonathan Hickman run of Fantastic Four. It was incredible. You take, like, the most boring fucking team in the history of Marvel. And they're not that boring. I just, like, perceived to be boring, I think, a little bit, even though Reed Richards is absolutely incredible. I just don't think Ben Grimm is a good character. I don't think the Human Torch is all that great. I'd rather just read, I mean, to me it should have just been the Fantastic 2, because I'm a big fan of Reed and Sue. Now, that's something you should know when I do talk about comics, is that I'm always attracted to the love stories of comics. So, like, Thanos' obsession with death, you know, Peter and Kitty Pryde, you know, Colossus and Kitty Pryde, which I do believe they're finally married now, even though they tried to make Colossus gay there for a short time as well, which again, forced diversity. There's nothing wrong with diversity. Diversity should be celebrated. It should happen more, but you can't have forced diversity. And then, okay, so I kind of contradict myself then, because I do complain about the character in Marvel, America Chavez, right? America Chavez is, you know, not a character that I'm going to fucking read. But if you follow I'll do a little shout out to diversity in comics. I love diversity in comics. I know people are like, oh my God, he's a racist piece of shit, straight white male. That's not the case at all. Again, anyone who's on the side of Comicsgate, they should know. You should know. Take it from me. These aren't bad people. These are just people that believe that you shouldn't fuck with older characters in comics, and definitely don't push forced diversity. You know, diversity in comics, you know, your boy Zach, great guy, I love that guy. He showed up this panel, I think it was from Transformers, and no, it wasn't Transformers. It was from the SJW G.I. Joe comic book that recently got canceled. That's another thing you'll notice about these SJW comics. They always get canceled. They last about 6 issues, maybe 12 if they're lucky, and then they get canceled because they're not fucking selling, because that's not what people want. When people think Marvel, what do they think of? Cap, Avengers, X-Men. And X-Men is the greatest, you know, X-Men is the greatest storyteller of diversity. It should be said that they are, they always have. People will say, but they call them mutants. It still is a good way to tell the story of diversity within characters. You know, the struggle. And that's the thing too, that's what I was getting to, is that your boy Zach was pointing out that a lot of these SJW characters, there's no struggle for them. There's no struggle. If you read a book like America Chavez, you're just going to quickly realize that all she is the most badass alien ever. She's an alien, but she's Puerto Rican, by the way. Kind of weird. But yeah, there's no struggle with her. There's no, with great power comes responsibility, such as Peter Parker's Spider-Man. There's none of that. And even the great, you know, rest in peace, Stan Lee, even he said, you should never take existing characters for the sake of diversity. It wasn't like the exact quote. I could probably bring up the quote, which I probably should, since this is a new show. But it's off the cuff. It's the DNN. You know what I mean? Dirty News Network. This is the first episode. If anybody goes back, they're going to realize that this is how the show's going to be probably from now on. Because this is how kind of the format that I wanted. One thing I've noticed from my streams is people kind of like when I get on my tangents. Usually I'll be like, alright, shit, I gotta shut up. But, you know, this show in particular is the show that I don't shut up. So back to Marvel. Which I don't even think we were on. I don't know how we got from Jim Acosta to Marvel. I'll have to replay this and see. This is another good thing, too, is I actually think that this show will work as therapy for me, in a way. Instead of walking around with all these weird fucking psychotic ideas in my head, I'll finally be able to just, you know, upload them onto you, and you guys can get all, you know, crazy with them too and start wondering, hey, he's not right, or maybe he is right. But, you know, again, like, if you're on the side of the right or the left, there's certain things that are like, I don't see how you think that's okay. Like Jim Acosta. Jim Acosta should be fired. Jim Acosta should be fucking fired for the way he acts. I'm sorry. He just should. Oh, great point, Josh. Great point. Great point. Yeah, I know. It wasn't very articulated, was it? But you know what? If you want articulation, then go to another channel, because you're not going to get articulation here. You're going to get what the fuck ever here. So, but yeah, the point is, though, is going back to the little Marvel tangent, though, is diversity is okay, but forced diversity is not. I wish I had more examples for better proponents of diversity. I do actually like what they did with the Miss Marvel situation. Now, I do miss the original Miss Marvel. I will say that. I actually like her costume. Oh my god, am I a misogynist because I like to see a little skin? I guess so. But I'm not even that kind of guy that when I read the comics, I'm not like, oh, look at these titties. That's not like, I've never been that kind of guy. But I like a good costume regardless. I like good art regardless. But my point is like when they decided to switch Miss Marvels and make her, you know, the Pakistani Muslim girl, I thought, well, that's odd. And I know people that were a little pissed about it, but what they did that was brilliant on their part was taking the existing Miss Marvel and elevating her to Captain Marvel, since Captain Marvel has been dead for a long time. The original Captain Marvel. Spoilers if you haven't read the 1980s amazing graphic novel by Jim Starlin, The Death of Captain Marvel. It's truly incredible, especially when you find out how he actually dies. I'm not going to give that away. You can go read it. Go fucking read it yourself. You know, more people should read comics. Comics are great. That's my point. Is that this is how I got to this moderate leaning right side of things. This is my point. That's how I got to this point. This is how I got from Jim Acosta to fucking Marvel. What's up, Gina? How are you? We're doing a little news show. If I say something offensive, I somewhat apologize. I hope I keep your sub. I hope I keep the sub. I mean, I hope I keep all follows with this. I hope I get more subs and more follows because more people should, you know, they should champion when someone wants to discuss stuff like this. Because most likely I'll say something stupid in these shows and I'm gonna get clipped. Maybe that's how I'll get famous, honestly. And then I'll have to go on Oprah and explain myself. But you know what? I'll ham that shit up. I'll tell you that. If I'm ever on Oprah, you bet your ass someone's winning a car. Okay? You get a car and you get a car. Hell, I'll give Oprah a car. Oh god, that'd be a hard interview though, man. I'd rather go on like Barbara Walters because she's so much more intense. Like I said, I say it all the time. I've been preparing for the Barbara Walters interview since I was 4 fucking years old. I'm ready for it. I've been ready for it. But is the world ready for it? Probably not. But that's why we're here. That's why we're doing the show. It's a good way to test things. It's a good way to test the waters to see if it's even a way that people even gravitate to, if they even give a shit. Because one thing I've noticed is doing art all the time on my streams, you know, it's become a little stale. You know, it's just a little bit stale there. You know, the growth is not there. I fucking bust my ass drawing. And that's for myself too. I will say that. I'm not complaining. You know, I've got some incredible follows based on my art, but there's just seemed to be a nice flow of growth there for a while, and then all of a sudden we've hit this growth wall. But that's fine. So we have to try new things. We have to try new things. One of my friends said I should play more games. I would like to play more games, but at the same time, I'm not going to force myself to play a game if I'm not in the mood. That's just tragic. Now, you might get a good reaction. You might get a pissed off reaction, and you're like, ah, that was great. Let me clip that shit. Let me title it, look at this motherfucker getting pissed. And you know what? I'll throw you a like if you clip it. I don't give a shit. That's awesome if you do. What was my point? What was I even discussing? I was talking about Jim Acosta and how he should be fired. Then I got to Comicsgate. Okay, because I was explaining how I left the left and became more moderate right. Which is even, I don't even like putting a label on myself. Like, anyone shouldn't even put a label on this. They should be open to discussion no matter what the fucking topic is. You should be humane. But I don't like this, also, like, everything that Trump says is racist or his rhetoric. I am so sick of hearing the word rhetoric. Who gives a shit about rhetoric? Actions and what things that happen. That is what defines people, and I think the jury, honestly, quite frankly, still out on Trump. If you look at what's happened, what he's done some good shit, but he's also said a lot of bad shit too. Now, I kind of like Trump, but I will say what he said about the California wildfires. I am from California. I haven't been to California in about 8 years. I live in Arizona. I've left California. I'm kind of happy I left California, to be quite honest. California, beautiful state, beautiful weather, probably the most beautiful fucking state in all of the United States. I love that state. It's in my blood. But, you know, it's too hard to live there. It's too expensive. And that goes to, you know, kind of a big shit on the left, quite frankly, is, you know, the Democratic hold on California. I hope that breaks one day, truly, man. Dianne Feinstein, 85 years old, get the fuck out of there. Seriously, anybody, whether you're right or left, needs to be for term limits. How the hell is that woman still there? And Ruth Bader Ginsburg, too, on the Supreme Court. Great woman, a champion. But come on, there needs to be term limits on the Supreme Court as well. I'm sorry. They should get like 5 years. It'd be a great appointment, you know? But then, you know, at the same time, that would take too much time and bullshit away from the president and the American people, as we've saw with the Kavanaugh case. That shit just was completely out of control. Completely out of control. Just on both sides. On both sides. Like, there's just nothing you can really say about either side on that when the dust finally cleared and it settled from that. But yeah, how I got more to the moderate right after being such an extreme leftist. Again, don't like putting labels on myself, but I would say that I leaned more left more socialist, more anarchist for a long time, much majority of my life. And I do believe that actually, now that I look back, hindsight, I think it has a big, you know, a lot to do with it was growing up in California, having the teachers that I had. Now that's not all my teachers. There was only 2 teachers that I can think of that were conservative. And I remember when kids would ask, what's your political affiliation? And this was in high school. This was, of course, you know, when you're in high school, you start to discuss this kind of shit. And they wouldn't say. And I remember thinking in my head at the time, well, they're probably Republican. Because most teachers I talked to in California growing up, they were all Democrat and they were all fucking proud of it. So it's very interesting to start to think and start to peel back the onion a little bit and wonder, you know, because it also goes to how impressionable you are as a kid too. I'm a big fan of movies. I love movies. I've grown up on movies. I wanted to be a film director when I was a kid, and then I wanted to be in the CIA. Actually, I wanted to be in the CIA first. Then I wanted to be a film director. Because I wanted to be a film director, I think, for at least 10 to 20 years of my life. And then I realized that, you know, directing film is kind of too much work. You know, that's a lot of work. And not only that, you got to work with people. And I think that is the problem there for me. That's when I started to shift my, you know, ideas to maybe I want to be a writer instead. Which is, you know, I still am a creative writer. I still do write a little bit here and there, but not nearly as much as I used to, particularly in high school. But I should go back and, you know, look at some of the poetry I used to write back then. That would probably be pretty interesting. Maybe then I can dissect the onion even further. But no, I don't think it's like a grand conspiracy or anything that like California and the school systems are molding kids into be leftists. But there does seem to be a rise of extreme leftism in the colleges around the country, it seems like. There just seems to be a lot of people marching for no fucking reason. And in Antifa, that, you know, if you're for that I don't know what to tell you. That's crazy to me. Anytime you gotta put a fucking mask on your face and go, you know, fucking go block a road, go fuck yourself. Seriously. You know, it's actually a personal thing to me because I got blocked on Twitter, banned on Twitter for 12 hours because I said, fuck Antifa, break out the tear gas. What the fuck is that? Is that because... is that inciting violence on Antifa? Is that really, I mean, is that not okay? Even then, it's not inciting violence. It's an observation, you stupid fuckheads. What is wrong with discussing something? What is wrong with having a fucking opinion? If you don't like the opinion, then don't read it. But to ban me? You know, I was already subscribing to the theory that Twitter is shadow banning conservatives, and it's pretty fucking clear. There are so many examples on Twitter of this, you know, crazy. You know, I'm sorry, like, how is Jim Carrey not fucking banned on Twitter with the bullshit that he posts, man? It has to be on both sides if you're gonna start banning people for their opinions. I'm sorry. But I don't want Twitter to become that. You know, I'd prefer. Now I understand why I got banned. It was it's their platform. Just like if you were in my Discord and I didn't like what you were saying, I'd ban you as well. But I like the idea of Twitter being a lawless land. You know, I like the idea of, you know, the people should have the power to block. You know, if you don't like what people are saying, then block them. There's no reason to sit there and read something that you don't like. I follow a plethora of people on Twitter that I cannot stand just for the fact of that I want their ideas so that I can read them and wonder what the fuck. Maybe that's torture on myself. I don't know. But I do think it's important to scour the internet on a daily basis and definitely be open to alternative sites, alternative media, alternative YouTube channels. You know, channels that, of course, have been wrapped up in the great right-wing, white supremacist web of thought. You know, we've all read that story. What was that, on Vox, I think? Vox or some bullshit fucking site like that. Yeah, you know, Vox, Polygon, Kotaku, don't... I only read those to get infuriated. Maybe that makes me the masochist. Probably. a masochist of media that I hate. So far the show has been very ranty. We probably need to do a rave. What kind of rave can we do? The Showtime show that I am watching The Affair. I'm watching The Affair. I watched The Affair when it first came out, first season, right? Because I was intrigued about this season because it won the Emmy over Game of Thrones at the time. Now this happened twice with Showtime shows, as I recall. It was Game of Thrones was up for Best Drama. Homeland was up for Best Drama. Homeland won, and I remember thinking, well, I gotta watch Homeland, and of course that turned out to be one of the best things I ever did. Homeland, fantastic. It's kind of gone off the rails of late, but it's still worth watching, I would say, especially if you want that political tense fix, kind of like what we had with House of Cards. Now that's a whole nother can of soup right there, House of Cards. I'll get into that in a moment, maybe. That'll turn into a rant, probably. But a rave, though, goes for the Showtime show, The Affair. Again, I watched it when it first came out, the first season. I thought it was absolutely fucking brilliant. I think it's one of the most brilliant written shows in television history. And yes, I'm clapping back. You have got to watch this show. Oh my god. Don't spoil it for me either, man. And the 5th and final season is being filmed now. I am currently on season 3. I think I'm on episode 3, I think. It's kind of taken a strange turn, but it's still very, very interesting. But the brilliant part about The Affair and the writing about The Affair is this. Instead of focusing on one character or many characters and telling the story all at once, they actually break it into parts, like part 1, part 2 per episode. And they tell you, sometimes they'll show you different perspectives of the same situation. And to me, the brilliant part about that is that usually the perspectives are completely different. So the viewer, myself, you're left with this wonder of, well, what really happened? What is really the truth? And that to me is absolutely fucking fascinating, people. It's fucking brilliant. It's brilliant writing. Because then you start to wonder about your own self. You start to think like, well, is what I see the truth, or is the other perspective correct? Of course, I'm just absolutely crazy and psychotic. I mean, I'm probably just sitting in a padded room somewhere, rocking back and forth, saying YouTube, YouTube, YouTube. Very possible that that is happening. But yeah, that definitely a rant, man. Is that show, The Affair? Another big rant, the Haunting of Hill House. Haunting of Hill House. I gotta say, man, I am not a horror guy. I fucking can't stand horror. I've never been into horror. I've never really gotten it. Never been my flavor. But I know people love horror. They love it. They love it. They fucking bleed horror. They love it. It's in their blood. They absolutely adore horror. That's their shit. I've known these people. I've gone to movies with them. I've talked movies with them. I'll be trying to discuss like this great drama that just came out. Because I'm a very, I love film. I love film. I do, especially when it's really good drama. Or if it's good comedy. Smart comedy, not stupid comedy. I mean, I love a good stupid comedy, but smart comedy is the best. Smart comedy along with a little dramedy. If you can craft a good dramedy, it's the greatest fucking film ever made, as far as I'm concerned. But The Haunting of Hill House, the show on Netflix, everyone was raving about it when it first came out. I mean, I have to admit, if everyone didn't rave about it, if people that I wasn't close to weren't posting on social media and whispering me, hey, have you seen this show? You have to see it. I probably would have never even taken the time. But here we are. Restart my my music there. Sorry about that. Gotta make sure that I'm copyright free, royalty free on these, because I want these to stay up on YouTube. I want people to be able to, keep watching, and I'll probably replay these on Twitch as well. Maybe do a nice big chunk of them. Where was I? Yes, The Haunting of Hill House. Back to, you know, how I hate horror. Haunting of Hill House. There was one scene that scared the fuck out of me. Now, it was a jump scare scene, yes, but it scared the fucking shit out of me. Alright? No fucking spoilers. I'm not gonna do that because the show is brilliant and I don't want anybody to spoil anything for me, ever. Ever. I hate spoilers. People that spoil shit, listen, there's a special room locked in the white hot flames of hell just for you, okay? Nobody likes you. Nobody likes the spoiler guy. Now, there are some people out there I know that are like, oh, just tell me, please. I know they have to know right away. I don't know what to tell you people either. You know? Like, why would you want all of your cake right away like that? It's the same people that bitch when they see a preview of a movie and they don't even know the fucking story yet. That's happening way too much. That's a problem with the internet as well. I'll get to that, but... man, this show really is probably going to be more rants, I imagine. More rants. But yeah, The Haunting of Hill House. Fan-fucking-tastic, ladies and gentlemen. You know, I don't want to give away any spoilers, and I won't. But there are two things in that show that happen in that show. I'll say it, episode 5 and the last episode. Two things. Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I was actually floored at one of them. Now that doesn't happen often in anything anymore in terms of movies and books but you know what, if you're having that issue, you got to expand your mind a little bit. You got to watch more stuff. Hence with myself watching The Haunting of Hill House. You know, if you're not into horror, give it a chance. Same thing if you're not into drama. Give a drama a chance, man. You know, if you're not into drama movies, sit your fucking ass down and watch One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Sit your ass down, watch Silver Linings Playbook. Watch something with a little bit of a flavor of comedy in it to help you get along the way, to maybe appreciate how good drama can be and the brilliance of acting for that matter. Now, there was a couple raves there. Since the entire fucking show has been me ranting about, you know, Jim Acosta. I probably shouldn't have even touched up on Jim Acosta to start, you know. I don't know. I just can't stand the guy. Mr. President, will you please just add, Mr. President, can you just add, Mr. President, can you? No, I won't answer that. You are fake news. One of the greatest fucking moments in history. I'm sorry. I love that. I just love it. I just absolutely love it when Trump thumps him. Whether you, like I said, whether you lean right or left, like I said, I consider myself more moderate right. You can't respect Jim Acosta. I mean, come on. Get out of here with that. But then we got, so we dabbled in Jim Acosta. We went to Jim Acosta. We went to, like, the social justice bullshit going on in comic books for a little bit with Comicsgate. And I hope all of you guys follow Comicsgate, the hashtag Comicsgate on Twitter. Don't be like these idiots in the comic industry that are like, oh, everyone that follows Comicsgate is a white supremacist, misogynist piece of shit. That ain't the fucking case at all. Get the fuck out of here. We just don't like forced diversity going down our throats when we actually celebrate diversity. Which is what I got into earlier when I brought up Spawn. Again, look at Spawn. Spawn is the perfect example of good diversity. Much like the X-Men. There's no need to take existing characters and destroy them from within. Characters that make you money, by the way. Characters that make you money on your bottom line. And you're noticing this with Marvel too, how they keep rebooting their franchises. It's annoying. It's annoying to the comic book collector. You know, there was a time when you used to collect comic books, you used to be like, oh shit, issue 341, sweet. That shit don't happen anymore, man. That shit don't happen. Those days are gone with Marvel. Now it's, the issue gets to issue 12 and they reboot it. Usually because the sales are declining and they're trying to create value with that #1 again. And another big issue with comics is the variant covers. Just too many variant covers again. You're seeing that 1990s, late 90s flair come back to all these variant covers. So you're kind of eliminating a lot of value there if you're a comic book collector. Now I will say this. Collecting comic books is to me like an alcoholic with alcohol. Alright? Like that is an addiction that I stay away from. When I used to collect comic books when I was a kid. Really loved them. I had these 2 short boxes that I carried with me for, you know, everywhere I went, because I was a kid. I used to buy comics, kept all those comic books with me. You know, Spawn, X-Force, all that shit. First appearance of Carnage, what up? You know, all that shit in my 2 little short boxes. Didn't go back into comics until, like, I think the last time I set foot in a comic book shop was 1994. I moved out to Arizona in 2010. And then I think it was 2014, 2015 rolls around, and I start to get an itch. And you know what? The itch, I can explain the itch. It was the Kindle. When I got a Kindle gifted to me, and I started reading digital comics, that's when I started to get this feeling of like, oh my god, I have to go buy more. So that's what I did. And I tell you what, it only took a month of me going around to all the amazing comic book shops in Arizona, which, by the way, shout out to Arizona for all these bitchin' comic book shops. It's incredible, the comic book scene out here in Arizona. I'm shocked, floored of how many fucking comic book shops are out here. Growing up in Cali, I had 3 shops. 3 shops that I went to. 2 of them closed down while I was collecting. So that just shows you. One of them's still fucking there. I don't know how it's still fucking there. You know, shout out to 4 Color Fantasies in San Bernardino, California. I don't know how the fuck you're still there, but you're still there. Pretty amazing. Anyway, so 1 month into me just walking around into these comic book shops around lovely Arizona, I accumulate 35 fucking subscriptions a month for comic books. I'm like, yeah, let's set up a pull box. I'm like, yeah, throw Batman in there. Throw Saga in there. Throw East of West in there. Oh shit, this is coming out? Yeah, throw that in there. So that went for 2 months before I finally fucking snapped and I was like, I can't do this anymore. The amount of money that you sink into that shit is mind-numbing. And it's also the part of you that feels like you're collecting, that you are giving yourself this value. Now, my feeling on comic book collecting is I stay away, but like big sales, like Black Friday sales, that kind of stuff, I still get the itch to go looking through the bins. You know, there's nothing better if you're into comics, looking through bins, your fingers fucking hurt, your back hurts, it doesn't fucking matter because you're just fucking digging through the fucking sand to get to the treasure, to get to the next treasure. And then get home and put it in some plastic, put it in a box so you can never look at it again. That's comic book collecting for you right there. How the fuck did I get to that? Oh man, this show's gonna be a weird show. I don't know if we should really title it News Network. We should just maybe title it... I mean, although I have discussed a little news, I mean, at the top of the hour, we discussed Jim Acosta's, you know, restoration of his White House press pass. You know, good for Jim Acosta, I guess. You know, I mean, I get to see him interrupt everybody and undermine every other reporter in the room. That's great. I'm sure all the other reporters are just ecstatic that Jim's coming back. But I mean, come on, man. I mean, you can't... How do we respect these reporters that are clearly grandstanding and making them about themselves? Like I said, it's sickening to me that I'm looking at a Google News front page here, and Jim Acosta is the top fucking story. Come on, there's got to be a better story out there. Let's see. Let's move on. Let's see what we got. Stacey Abrams prepares push for new governor vote. Okay. So she clearly can't accept defeat. Good for Stacey, I guess, you know, just keep up the fight, I guess. You know, to me, you should concede, because you clearly lost. Oh, here's a good story on Vox. Vox, great fucking, you know, place here. Bohemian Rhapsody loves Freddie Mercury's voice. It fears his queerness. The film inadvertently illustrates the paradox of queerness in the era of the AIDS crisis. Really? Look, I gotta be honest with you. You know, I heard rumblings of Bohemian Rhapsody about how it doesn't even touch up on Freddie being gay. It doesn't even do anything about that. It's more about Queen and all that. For one, last time I checked, the film was titled Bohemian Rhapsody. It's not called Freddie. I mean, yes, it's a Freddie Mercury movie, but... I mean... Alright, my point is this. I actually didn't expect there is as much gay homoerotic stuff that was actually in Bohemian Rhapsody to begin with. And I'm not doing any spoilers here at all. But this person goes on to say how it all centers around AIDS. Well, I'm sorry. AIDS was kind of a big fucking deal then. And then there's also a complaint here that the girl is saying that when he tells the Queen band members, and this is kind of a spoiler, it's not really a spoiler, but when there's a scene when he tells them, I've got it, and they don't know what it is. Well, you know, there was a time in the early 80s, ladies and gentlemen, where people didn't know what the fuck AIDS was. AIDS awareness wasn't like a big thing until the late 80s, early 90s when it fucking went haywire on everybody. So get a grip on yourselves, take a time, read a fucking book like And the Band Played On sometime, and maybe you'll fucking learn a little bit more about AIDS. AIDS is horrific. It's a horrific thing. To me, touching up on AIDS in the movie was a good thing because, yes, he died from AIDS. So you have to at least mention it. And to not say, okay. So I get what the article is saying, that, you know, that straight people were unaware of AIDS at this time, and it wasn't straight. They're kind of alluring to the fact. But that's the thing too, is this person writing this article is assuming the fact that straight people weren't spreading it around, when in fact we know that to be true now. But to ignore the fact that gay people weren't spreading it around at that time is ridiculous, as we've seen so many people, a lot of icons, Rock Hudson, Freddie Mercury, some lesser knowns but iconic, you know, people that have died from AIDS like Ryan White. You know, it took a toll on the gay community. So just ignore the fact is kind of disingenuous to the gay people that died of AIDS. You know, I mean, you should be championing the fact that a lot of people did actually overcome this thing. It's sad that Freddie didn't, though. You know, the fact that Freddie died at 45 is fucking heartbreaking. I'm sitting here doing a show, I'm 38, and to think that in 7 years I could be fucking dead. You know, I'll probably have a heart attack in 1 or 2 years the way I fucking live. That's for sure. But this article is your typical article on Vox. Just your typical bullshit article on Vox right there. Social justice bullshit articles that Vox, Kotaku, and Polygon love to print. They love it. They eat it up, man. It's like as soon as a movie preview comes out, as soon as a song comes out, as soon as a video game comes out, as soon as a comic book comes out, it's like these people are just looking for something to bitch about. And that's the dark side of the internet right there. You know, me being able to talk, have this platform right here, this is the good side of the internet right here. Now I get it, they should be able to say what they want to say, that's fine. But the fact that it's on a front page, you know, getting all these clicks, feeding into the fucking great social justice machine is a little sickening. But that's why you have to have people step up to the plate and fight it a little bit. You know, it's okay to step up and say, I don't agree with that. That's not how I see it. I'm sorry, like I have to admit, like when I went to see Bohemian Rhapsody, I knew it was going to be a good movie. I just had a feeling this will be good. Rami Malek will be insane. He's going to be the best choice for Freddie. Although I will say, I've always thought like Daniel Day-Lewis, older Freddie Mercury would be fantastic. But to see Rami do his thing, it's fucking jaw-dropping how good he is. He really has put himself in the contention for the Oscars this coming year. Might actually win it, especially when you take the time to look at the Live Aid performance. He mimics him so well. And maybe, you know, you could actually make that a con, is that you're actually just doing a mimic. But that's still acting, man. That's still acting. And, you know, that kind of contradicts what I always say about Heath Ledger and how Heath Ledger was overrated for The Dark Knight. And I still I still stick to that. Because Heath Ledger, when you look at it, his voice, he's doing a Tom Waits impression from the 70s. People need to go on YouTube and really anywhere you look, just look up some interviews with Tom Waits when he was a little younger in the 1970s, and you hear that voice, and it is fucking creepy how well. And that again, it's kind of a contradiction because I'll say it's an overrated performance, but it's very good. It's a fantastic mimic of that voice, and yes, he was good in that role. I'm not saying he wasn't. He was actually fantastic in the Joker role, but I do think the role is a little overrated at this point because now all you hear is no one will ever live up to Heath Ledger. I think that's absolutely ridiculous. Ridiculous. You raise the bar for actors to get above it. So I thought Bohemian Rhapsody would be good, but I have to admit I walked out of there thinking it was pretty fucking great. And that's hard to say for a Bryan Singer movie. It's funny how no one's really talking about how it's a Bryan Singer movie. They're not really talking about Bryan Singer and how weird that guy is. But Bryan Singer, to me, has always been a really good director when he's not directing the X-Men movies. And don't worry, that show is coming. We'll probably just title it Why I Hate the X-Men Movies by Fox. I can't tell you how excited I am for Marvel Studios to be doing the X-Men movies. And again, another contradiction there. I need like a little buzzer because, you know, Marvel Studios is getting a little scary, walking a fine line with the social justice in their film and in their own comic books. And I hope that they don't continue that because I really don't want to see... I guess I'm okay with seeing Miles Morales on screen so long as there's a Peter Parker. I'm actually okay with Miles Morales having his own movie because Miles Morales is established. I guess you need to... I think a character really needs to earn it because there's been talks of Riri Williams, the teenage black girl who plays Ironheart, the female Iron Man. I guess she's a genius, whatever. You know, she's with Tony Stark, all that good stuff. You know, another canceled fucking comic book. Boom! I think they've tried to do that twice now. Ironheart? Yeah. Like, these characters will be around to stay because Marvel will push them as much as they can. Because Marvel, at its core, in the comic book industry, has been infected big time by some social justice people. Now, they have fired a few, thank God. They have fired a few, and if anybody is interested in Comicsgate, please do follow Diversity in Comics on YouTube and Comic Artist Secrets Pro, Ethan Van Scriber on Twitter and YouTube. That guy is fantastic. He actually recently walked away from Comicsgate. It was too much for him. He walked away, and literally a day into Stan Lee's death, Comicsgate pulled him back in because of course you had quite a few people taking to Twitter on Stan Lee's day of his death and saying that Stan Lee was a piece of shit, that he was a racist, that he was a fucking rapist. This is what you're saying about Stan Lee. Boy, you know, and I have a problem with that too. It kind of goes back to the Kavanaugh trial. How do you call someone a rapist if it's not been proven? I mean, it's a little ridiculous to be labeling someone a fucking rapist. It's like calling someone a child molester if they slept with someone that was like 16. Now, I'm not saying sleeping with a 16-year-old is right, but that should be distinguished from sleeping with a child, in my opinion. Like, if you're old enough to drive on the fucking road, you have some liberties there, I think. I'm sorry. Boy, this show is crazy. We're probably not going to get any follows. It's okay, though. You know, we're going to keep on doing it. I think we're going to try to do this daily. I know that sounds crazy. Maybe even a couple times a day. I don't know. I don't really know. It really just depends on how much shit comes into play. Especially since we've only discussed 2 news stories today. One being Jim Acosta, and the other being the Bohemian Rhapsody story on Vox. Which, that's not news, that's just an article. It's just a shit article that I'm shitting on. Oh, sorry. Got some dry mouth going on. And I need my lovely Powerade Zero Blue... Oh shit, I just hit my mic. Sorry about that. I guess the show's canceled. Okay. Let's see what we got. Let's see what's going on here. Violence breaks out as first group from migrant caravan arrives in Tijuana. Well, boy, that's a fucking shock, huh? I didn't see anything violent happening with that. Let's not even touch the caravan migrant shit with a 10-foot pole right now, because that's, you know, look, do they deserve asylum? Perhaps. But maybe we need an asylum fucking island to hold people off and screen them a little bit better before we just let people in and fucking start having babies and saying these babies are fucking American citizens now. I'm sorry, there's a bit of a fucking problem with that. I have no problem. Just like what Trump says. No problem with migration. No problem with immigrants, so long as they come legally. So we're not gonna touch that. There's no fucking... I've already said my piece with it. I've said my piece. Moving on. Let's see. Fantastic Beast Crimes at Grindelwald box office nabs 9 million in previews. Boy, that's exciting, huh? Just shows the power that Johnny Depp's still a badass on screen, but I don't even think that that's Johnny Depp. I think that's just a Fantastic Beast tagline running off the Harry Potter franchise. But I'll be honest, I gotta say, I mean, I saw the preview of the movie. I'll be watching it. I think that looks good, to be honest. Creed 2's coming out. I think I'm excited about that too. I will say that Creed was the best fucking Rocky movie since Rocky 1. Yep, I'm gonna stand by that. I'm gonna stand by that. Rocky 1 is incredible, minus, you know, Adrian. The biggest problem I have with all the Rocky films is Adrian. I think Adrian's a weak character. You know, maybe it's her, maybe it's Talia Shire, because she's horrible in Godfather as well. She's really hard to take in on Godfather. You know, the scene when Carlo beats the fuck out of her, you know, not to sound like an asshole, but you kind of feel yourself rooting for him a little bit, you know? But then, of course, you know, when you see Sonny beat the living shit out of Carlo, you're like, yeah, you fucking prick. Oh, I just recently watched Godfather, by the way. I recently watched Godfather 2, back to back. Let me tell you something, man. If you've never seen those movies, take the time. Take the fucking time and do it when you're a little older too. Like if you're a younger guy, younger kid, younger girl watching this show, which I don't know if you should, it's mature content. But if you're out there and you're thinking, you know, I need a good flick, I need something deep, you know, watch Godfather, man. It still holds up to this day. There's some effects, some practical effects. There's some blood in there that's, you know, it doesn't really look blood, but other than that, the fucking drama of it, the scenes, the looks. Marlon fucking Brando in Godfather 1, as much as I can't stand Marlon fucking Brando. Incredible. Just incredible. But it also, you have to see, because I know Al Pacino, you know, today's Al Pacino is kind of a caricature of this weird Al Pacino. Al Pacino is very strange now. It's hard to watch Al Pacino in a movie because I don't know if he's acting or if he's just showing up to get the check. He kind of just does everything with his eyes because he knows his eyes are the most powerful feature that he has, which goes back to how you have to go and take a look at the 70s and go into that Al Pacino, and particularly with Godfather 2. Godfather 2, Al Pacino in Godfather 2, it's really hard to argue against a better acting performance. Now, I will say my favorite acting performance all time by any actor was Daniel Day-Lewis as Bill the Butcher in Gangs of New York. I feel like you can't even touch it. You can't. But I'm waiting for that acting performance to tell me that was... But even then, it's really hard to, you know, compare acting performances, you know, because you got to look at the passion of it. You know, does it require tears? How much intensity does it need to be brought to the table? Can you act without intensity? Like Edward Norton in Primal Fear, a really good acting performance. He was nominated for it. Not a very intense role at all. He's very calm the whole time. But a good, great performance nonetheless. Same thing with Tom Hardy in the film Locke. Interesting film if you've ever seen the film Locke. It's a guy just struggling on the way home. He's in his car the whole time, talking on his cell phone. I know. Doesn't sound like a good premise at all. And when you start the movie, you're like, what am I watching? But the acting, just from him talking in the car, truly, inspiring, to be honest. Tom Hardy's that kind of guy that I feel like we have yet to see his best performance. But you could easily say that one of his best performances was The Revenant. I honestly think that Tom Hardy was better in The Revenant than Leo. I think Leo's best role, by far, The Aviator, as Howard Hughes. Oh, I could watch The Aviator back to back to back to back to back to back. And I know it's weird. I know it's weird, but the acting in that and the film of that is just so superb, in my opinion. I could easily watch Cate Blanchett as Katharine Hepburn over and over and over again. Easily. I love Cate Blanchett. Just love her. She's my favorite actress, man. You know, she's been at the top since Elizabeth, and she was amazing in Elizabeth, man. That's the first time I ever saw that woman. And she's continued to bring it. She was even good in a movie called Pushing Tin, which is about fucking air traffic controllers with Billy Bob Thornton and John Cusack. It's a movie not a lot of people have seen, but it's a really good movie. Good acting performances. Moving on from acting, though, like I said, Creed 2 coming out. I'm excited about that. My Lakers still looking good out there, ladies and gentlemen. I think they play tonight. Let's look that up. Tap, tap, tap. Let's see. Lakers.com. Do they play tonight? Hopefully they do. Saturday. Well, fuck me. Alright, so I gotta wait an extra day and catch the Lakers. 8-6, traveling to Orlando, Florida. 7-8 Magic. At least the Lakers are two games above 500. I was a little worried about them at the start, but I tell you what, how can you really be worried about a LeBron James team? You know? How can you really be worried? And going into other sports news, Le'Veon Bell didn't fucking show up, man. Didn't show up. Now, I'm sorry. Why do you sign a contract if you're not gonna fucking honor it? You know, I mean, what is it? Is this about oppression? Is this about you didn't get enough balls? It just, I don't know. It bothers me a little bit when you see sports stars just not showing up and not reporting and grandstanding. I just have a problem with grandstanding in general, I think. Even though you could probably make the argument that I'm grandstanding here, but I'm not really, you know, no, it's not really grandstanding. I'm just ranting and raving. That's what we're doing here. That's what that is. I'm not conceding. I'm not gonna do it. Let's take a look at Breitbart. Let's take a look here. Let's see what the right-wingers have to say. The right. Rand Paul, next Attorney General must defend individual liberty from power-hungry deep state. I fucking agree with that. Rand Paul, not afraid to talk about the deep state. A true libertarian kind of guy. I really wish Rand Paul would step up and have more of a voice. I think Rand Paul would make a fantastic president. And presidential too, because I know that we've had this very politically incorrect time of Trump for the last 2 years, and I still champion that. I still would like to see more of it. I like the politically incorrect, but we will need balance back in the force at some point. You know, you can't have too much Sith without a little force, right? Right. You gotta have a Jedi every now and then. And no, I don't think that Trump is a Jedi. I just think that Trump is not the demon and the evil man that a lot of people think that he is. Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg claims tremendous respect for George Soros. What a shock there, but this is a story that I kind of expected to see on Breitbart. Let's go to HuffPost. Oh, Jesus Christ. Let's see this. Let's see. Judge to White House, give Acosta his press back. See, that's clearly on the bias of Acosta. Abrams readies long shot lawsuit, force new vote. Huffington Post is a little bit, ooh, what is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez? What does the socialists have to say? Let's see, man. Boy, her Twitter is sad. That's, yeah. I guess she's upset that people are talking about her fashion now on Twitter. Well, that's good. It's good that you take the time to comment. I just really have nothing to say about her. Not yet. We'll get to her, I guess. We'll get to that crazy socialist person. I'm sorry, but, you know, fucking, you can't have college for all, man. Get out of here with that. Who's gonna pay for that? Even when Bernie Sanders was saying that shit and I was on the left side, I was like, yeah, free college for all, man. And I remember when my friend, he was in college, paying his way, doing it the right way. He even looked at me, he's like, he kind of was like, fuck you, dude. And I agree with him, I do. You should have to fucking make it. You know? What do you think I'm sitting here trying to do? I'm trying to make it myself here, you know? You have to, you gotta be bold. You can't just wait for everyone to give you your shit. You know, and to me, when I hear free college, I hear free shit. You know, and I like Rand, that's why I like Rand Paul. One of the greatest things he ever said. I believe in a government so small, you can barely see it. And doesn't that sound like a wonderful thing? Instead of the government getting into every little thing and taxing you on every little fucking thing that you try. You can't even... It's so hard to make a living nowadays. And take it from me. Unemployed, by the way. But important to note, I don't collect unemployment. Because I've been cut off. But still, I don't collect it currently. And I don't give a shit. I deserve that. I paid into that shit since I was 15 years old, god damn it. Point is... I feel good not collecting it and at least trying to make it my own way. I am a true starving artist now. So if I ever do make it, and I ever do at least, and when I say make it, I don't mean fucking fame, man. I just mean a living. A living I can be happy about. To be able to do these streams and have 30 people, 50 people on, I will be content with that. I don't need 3,000. I don't need 5,000 watching at a time. That's fucking lunacy, man. I won't even be able to keep up with what people are saying to me. But 30 to 50, you could still have some good conversations. You could have people coming in there debating you and saying, hey, fuckhead, this is why Trump's wrong, this is why this is wrong, and this is why you're wrong. And you shouldn't be, well, I guess, peddling it. Peddling it? Is that the right word? That's not the right word. Oh, here's a good one. Outrage as members of Merkel's youth party's youth wing film singing Nazi-era song. Nazi-era song. Ooh, okay. I mean, you know, it's in Germany. I guess it's bound to happen every now and then, huh, Angela? Bound to happen every now and then. For your information, saying men aren't women now qualifies as hateful. Oh my god. Alright, this is a great one. Here we go. Let's click this. For your information, saying men aren't women now qualifies as hateful conduct on Twitter. How are trans women not men? What is the difference between a man and a trans woman? This is fucking bullshit, Twitter. I'm not allowed to say that men aren't women to ask questions about the notion of transgenderism at all anymore. That a multi-billion-dollar company is censoring basic facts and silencing people who ask questions about the dogma is insane. Huh. Well. Men aren't women. Gonna ban all of us who believe in this biology. Yes, I'm sorry, that is fucking biology. You know, that is... I think it should be okay to say that. I want to say it right now. Men aren't women. There you go. Boom. Ban me. Now, I'm not gonna go say that on Twitter. I'll just say it here. Because, you know, we'll wait for the bans to come in. If they ever do. Not that I'm trying to be banned. It should be noted that I don't really want to walk that fine line. I kind of want to just talk about what I want to talk about. You know, and if something really bothers me, you'll really be able to tell. Marvel officially cancels Darth Vader series after removing writer Chuck Wendig. The issues Wendig completed before being fired will not be released. Let's see. Marvel has canceled its Star Wars Shadow of Vader miniseries following the firing of its writer Chuck Wendig, seemingly over his social media presence. Yeah, he was a bit of a prick on Twitter. Let's see. Let's see if we can click that. Let's see if we can see what he was doing. Wendig claiming it was too much politics. Chuck Wendig on, let's see, October 12th, 2018. So here's a thing that just has happened. I just got fired from Marvel, taken off issues 4 and 5 of Shadow of Vader, and taken off as a yet unannounced Star Wars book as well. This might be a long thread. Also receiving tons of harassment that has gone on for years. That's because you're a fucking prick. You know, if you're gonna go on the internet and be a prick, what do you expect? I expect people to be a dick to me. I just know it's gonna happen. I already know it's coming. Let's see what's going on in Kotaku. The worst site in the history of sites here. Civilization 6 runs well on Switch, but is missing some features. Alright, well see, that's at least fucking gaming news. I gotta give him credit. That's not bad. Look at Kotaku sticking to it. Warframe players will be able to copy their PC account to Switch. Well, I guess that's great. I'm, you know, happy for the Switch players. Let's go to the box office. Let's take a look. Did Bohemian Rhapsody take it again? No, the fucking Grinch. Look at that. But Fantastic Beasts 2 will definitely take it this. Now the battle between Bohemian Rhapsody and A Star Is Born. Bohemian Rhapsody 13-day total 110 million. Star Is Born 13-day total 104 million. So the power of Freddie Mercury, ladies and gentlemen, really showcasing itself. It's good to see that movie do well. Like I said, it was a really good movie. I was surprised. I was really surprised at how good Bohemian Rhapsody actually was. Let's see if there's anything good on Reuters here. Anything good on the Reuters? I consider Reuters to be like, you know, moderate in the middle type shit, I think, right? Here we go. Al Jazeera. Let's see what Al Jazeera is saying here. May names new Brexit secretary amid crisis over deal. Boy, man, I just have to say I hope Britain sticks to their guns and gets the fuck out of the EU. I really do. The EU is, I think that's a scary thing. And now we're gonna have to deal with the European army. Oh my god. Nobody gives a shit about ISIS. ESPN. What's going on over on ESPN? Odell Beckham Jr.'s got a new dance. Well, I bet he does. Stephen A. Smith. Durant's performance was disgraceful. Well, I bet he was high on the weed. I don't see how people still follow Stephen A. Smith anymore. That guy is absolutely crazy. I hope people say that about me one day. You know, I hope people are like, I don't know how you watch Dirtyirish. That guy is a fucking asshole. I would be happy with that. Like, even if... I'll take the hate. Even if it's not love, I'll still take the hate. Because I'm a fucking ham. Anyone that does a YouTube channel, anyone that does any kind of channel, streaming, anything, they're all fucking hams. They're all a bunch of whores. Alright, we're all whores trying to dance on this stage and make a dollar. You know? We're shaking our booties for the dollars. That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing, people. We're shaking our booties for the dollars. Don't you understand what I'm trying to do for you here? I'm trying to get you on stage so that you can be a fucking dancer. Alright. I shouldn't talk like that. It hurts my throat. It hurts my fucking throat. Oh my god. I shouldn't do that anymore. Yeah, that's the ultimate fucking throat burner right there, isn't it? Alright. Let's move on. What is this for your information? Oh yeah, okay, that was the same story. Let's check out Google News. The Googs. The most powerful fucking company in the world here. Is there anything that jumps out? Is there anything controversial? Anything worth it? Anything fucking worth it here? I think from now on I might have to do topical shows. I think the rant rave format might not be good because it's too tangelic, too tangent-like, maybe. Probably, that's probably the case, but I think we'll get better as time goes on, for sure. But maybe establishing some talking points might be a good idea, perhaps. It might be a good idea. We might have to look into talking points at some point. What are we going on? An hour and 20 minutes? We've hit the hour and 20 minute mark. You know what? Let's go ahead and wrap this bad boy up. No follows, no likes, no subscribes, no shares, none of that shit today. Nobody to thank. Although I will thank the 2 people yesterday. Thank you to ESPN and thank you to Will yesterday tuning in to Court Fuchs's and I's football show. Once again, the football show, the Pick'em show. Tune in every Thursday, 5 p.m. fucking Eastern. And of course, you can always tune in and see me, the DNN, Dirty News Network. I'm going to try to be on daily. Maybe I'm in a couple times a day. Maybe we'll try to do a morning and a nighttime show. Let me know what you think in the fucking comments section. Seriously, let me know what you guys think. I hope this turns out to be a good thing. Probably not. Probably not. Maybe this was just an utter fucking failure. Maybe you'll never see another episode again. Maybe this is the last one. Play the fucking violin. Play the violin, kid. Alright. I'll tell you what I'm gonna do though. I'm gonna eat. I'm gonna feel better. And then I think I'm gonna fucking maybe stream a video game of some kind, if that's alright with y'all. Alright. Thank you for tuning in to the inaugural episode of the DNN, where we covered such things as Jim Acosta, Comicsgate, social justice bullshit in Marvel Comics, Bohemian Rhapsody, and we kind of lost everybody at the end there, but that's okay. We will learn from it, and I hope that episode 2 is a lot better. Let me know what y'all think once again. You guys all take care. I'll see you guys in a bit.